Guess who back in the house? Heels click clack in a bow. Fine, fresh, feminine style to 11. I'm divine, so heavenly. Gentlemen, sweat, it's down across the board, no doubt. Body like wow, she about to end this drought. Titty so plentiful, fish queen Jezebel should be criminal. Don't make sense for a bitch to be this in down. Rock to the side, what is that sound? Watch me drop, drop, drop it to the ground. Wait for the 4, drop to the floor. Add up the 10s to get the score.
Oh, here we go. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're back. We're back. It is so exciting. We're back for part 2 of the fun and fabulous Tony nomination prediction fabulousness with 2 of my fabulous friends who are catty as fuck. But catty because we love the theater and we love talking about it. We love everything that goes on with the world of theater, and this is just part of the crazy celebration. And you know, we are this three queens having a great time talking about what's
I say we're not catty, it's tough love. We're displaying tough love.
Tough love. That's what we're giving. So here we are back again with, you know, we're gonna do Age Before Beauty because it is me here with my actor, writer, author, playwright, bon vivant. You're a bon vivant as well, because this bitch be traveling. If y'all follow him on Instagram, honey, she be going all over. If you follow, I'm just saying, you know, let the people know, Greg, honey, you here.
I like to travel.
I'm so jealous too, because like I just wish I could travel more. But yes, my friend Greg Allen is here with us to dis and dip and do. And
Hola, muchachos.
Of course, we can't do this without the voice of the youth, at least younger than us, because we found out in our last episode that we have been doing this now for over 10 years. This is 10 years since Paul and I first met and sat down and did this on the radio back at Sirius. And then as the podcast became what it became, then it bringing Greg along, and it's been so much fun just being able to kibitz, like, you know, 3 sisters hanging out talking about theater and bringing all of our different perspectives and energies into this particular conversation. And so I'm so thrilled to have you guys back again, and we are about to dip and do, honey, because on June 11th 2023, Ariana DeBose is going to be hosting this year's Tony Awards again, and look at the smile, and they're doing something interesting because they're going to take the first, I guess, the technical half, like what we did, and do it on a separate channel at 6:30 on Pluto. And that's free, that you can download the app or wherever you are, and you can get it. And then at 8 o'clock on CBS and on Paramount Plus, you're going to be also able to see the actual Tony Awards presentation, the full thing. Now, with that, don't they also do like a lot of interstitial, the in-between stuff you'll see like on maybe Paramount Plus? You know, like when they're watching.
The first, so basically most of the technical awards are going to be in the first half, as they call Act 1. But I don't love that it's not on TV. It used to be televised and then eventually went off TV and then it came to streaming. But there are people around the world who want to see it who won't have access to Pluto TV. So that for me is not great. Also, like, what the hell is Pluto TV?
Why Pluto? Like, why not Paramount Plus?
Why not Paramount? Or, you know, like this, and to me, like, here's a marketing opportunity that Paramount Plus has lost, because Paramount Plus could do one of those, like, you know, here's a special invite to see the Tony Awards on Paramount Plus, and then give you the option to buy on or something like that. And what you find is like you could wind up picking up a whole bunch of new subscribers by offering them something that they want to see. But, you know, again, nobody asked us. So
and the Tonys are at a theater in Washington Heights owned by Lin-Manuel Miranda this year for the first time ever. And I sent you a text of this, but the poster, it kind of looks exactly like In the Heights. Like, I was like, oh, okay, so is this like a reunion of In the Heights? Maybe, we'll see.
Well, you know, again, it's like, on one hand, you hear this and you're like, oh, that's really great. They're taking the Tony Awards uptown.
But also, what theater is uptown? There's no theater uptown.
And why?
The Apollo.
Broadway is Midtown.
What
exactly?
Again, you know, this is going to be one of those moments where we will see, because again, everybody's, you know, I've noticed that no one's talked about the whole location, but I guess Radio City was not available, and therefore they just chose not to do it there, or they
more shade. More shade on the
more shade,
Tonys.
and so gee, thanks for the offer. I would have rather them if they're going to go all the way there, they should have gone to that beautiful theater space in Brooklyn, that place where Diana Ross, when she comes to town to do her shows in Brooklyn. But
again, Broadway.
But Broadway is.
Broadway could be in Brooklyn, but it just isn't.
But it just isn't.
At the current moment. You know what I mean?
But Broadway, the street goes up to in the Heights.
That's true.
It does.
So
it does. It goes all the way out of town.
Yeah.
Technically, it's so funny. I used to be a tour guide, and I worked downtown. And one of the things that I had to talk about in my tour was like what New York was like during the early development of New York. And so what you find out in this tour is that Broadway actually was a Native American trail that went from all the way from Lower Manhattan all the way up to where you're seeing what we call Upper West Side, the Heights, but it would take you like days to get there.
Yeah, it goes up into Westchester. It goes into Westchester.
So God bless. So again, you can do Broadway in Westchester at this rate, But again, thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I guess, for saving the Tonys once again. If Radio City was not available,
he needed the press. Lin-Manuel needed the press. You know what I mean?
It's time. He's got to put his foot in something. But again, God bless him, because he's helping to keep theater alive and keeping this commerce going and giving us something to talk about because we're shady queens. Anywho, but we are here. We're going to talk about what is going down. We're going to do the list of performances. We're going to talk about the best plays, talk about the best musicals, and then we're going to hope and pray that we are right. At least I am, and then and then we will be celebrating the love and joy that we have for theater. So let's get it started, Daddy-O. Hit me.
Best performance by an actor in a featured role in a play: Jordan E. Cooper, Ain't No Mo. Samuel L. Jackson, The Piano Man. Piano Lesson, sorry. The Piano Man. Adrian Mortgage, A Doll's House. Brandon Uranowitz, your buddy.
My baby.
Lepashta. Wow, that was... Yeah, thank you. David Zaya's Cost of Living.
Okay.
Brandon. I'm going with Brandon.
This is going to be Brand's year.
I think so. I could see that.
Him in this.
That's my baby. He's like one of my original Broadway boos. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all by Brad Uran walking away.
He's wonderful.
This is his 4th Tony nomination. So I think I feel like this would be a wonderful time for him to walk away with a show that you could be super, super proud of. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something that I'm sure if he
feels connected to it, and exactly.
It's like this is a prize for him. So Brand Uranowitz, this is for you, baby.
Some people left out of the category were like Andre DeShields, Michael Potts, Scott Foley. So, but you know what? I think it was a busy category.
But
it really was. Like
it was a super busy category. But here's the thing, though. I just got a text from a friend of mine who lives in Georgia, and she's like about an hour or so outside of Atlanta. And she's a doctor, and her office is around the corner from where they're actually now filming The Piano Lesson. The movie's being filmed right now. So, it's sad that it may have not gotten as many nominations in those particular categories, I'm sure. But I would be mad at getting my check from SAG or, from my Screen Actors Guild check from doing this movie. I'm not going to be mad at. So, like, good kudos for them,
I think there were so many left out too, Paul, because there was all these limited runs this year. Like they would throw in these shows in for a few weeks, which made them eligible, or a few months. And so I'm like, at the end of this year, I'm like, there's a lot to cipher through and to try to pick out who you're going to pick from each of that. Like I was surprised, like Cost of Living came up.
Exactly.
I enjoyed it, but it was so long ago and they still remembered it.
That's well, sign.
11 shows out of 38 were nominated this year.
Wow.
So that's a big discrepancy.
Well, I mean, 11 out of 38. And of those 11, like how many are still running? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing.
Most of them. Some of them are not. But bravo for Cost of Living and Manhattan Theater Club. They're having a nice little cute season with the nomination. So
Yeah. And
but
bravo to Paul and his spreadsheets, because I love him and his figures.
well, the thing is that we need Paul every year because he keeps us organized. So,
like, boom, boom, boom.
Exactly.
And in this column it says this, and this column says this.
This is why we do this. But I think that this is in a play. It's got to be Bran. Is that what we just did? That so it has to be Bran.
Yeah. Okay. Best performance by an actress in a featured role in a play. Nikki Crawford, Fat Ham, Crystal Lewis Perry, A No More, who could have also been nominated for 1776, Miriam Silverman, The Sign, and Sydney Bertzine's Winzo, Katie Sullivan, Cost of Living, Kara Young, Cost of Living.
Ooh, interesting. Well, what's still playing in that list? Fat Ham, right?
And the sign and Sydney.
That sign and Sydney Bernstein Windsor. That's the revival. Lorraine Hansberry.
And that's the only acting nom they got.
Which is a little surprising.
Which is great considering that I completely forgot that it was open. So
it snuck in. They evidently
last second at BAM. And then they transferred.
So I'm going to go with Fat Ham on that one. How about you? Where you at on that, Greg?
I honestly loved Katie Sullivan. I don't think they'll remember that or she will get it, or enough people saw it and it's not still running. But I think there was something really incredible about her performance that I forgot what I was watching, and I'm like, oh, like you said, that bathtub scene, I was gone. I was like, oh, this didn't just happen. This is not happening.
for like a split second, for just a split second, I thought it was like a technical something that had happened, and I just and I panicked because I was like, is this? And I was like, oh, these mother scratchers know what they're doing. So, and again, that was one of those, I lucky enough to do my side hustle to be able to sit in that room and watch that show a couple of times, and to meet Kara Young, who was she was the one that was taking care of the
other guy, the
other guy. And I told her, I said my favorite moment with her was when she was getting ready for that date that didn't happen, and I was like, all the queens that were sitting near me were like, "Whoa, girl, give it serving," and she was like, it was so much fun being able to just have that kind of freedom and to know that people were paying attention to me like that. And it was great. And she's another one. It's like, this is her second or third show.
Yeah.
Because she was in Clyde. Remember Clive?
I saw her. I saw that too. Yeah.
And so good for her.
But with Cost of Living, the fact that they even tackle the subject matter of disabilities, I'm like, good for them. That's something different. We're talking about a diverse Broadway, and that doesn't always have to mean black, white, how we look. They went there with this disabilities, and I'm like, I was pulled into that story,
and the problems of what it is, literally the cost of living, like how to one guy's got it pretty much sewed up and the other person is like struggling on a day-to-day, and what that looks like.
And the one guy was an asshole, so it's not like just because I have a disability I'm a good guy.
Exactly.
He was an asshole.
He was a douche.
Right.
So we'll see, but I think that this is probably going to be a Fat Ham.
I think you're probably right,
just because people have access to it, because people have better access. Next category.
Just quickly, a couple people could have been nominated in this category: Sharon D. Clark, Danielle Brooks, DRC Carden, Casey Levy, Emily Burgle, Katie Finneran. So congrats to the people who got nominated. Okay. Doesn't always happen. Okay, so let's go to lead actor in a play. And
you're not featured for. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I had my featured.
I'm just doing plays first. I figured.
Okay.
Okay. So the nominees are Yaha Abdel Mateen II, Top Dog Underdog, Corey Hawkins, Top Dog Underdog, Sean Hayes, Goodnight Oscar, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Between Your Riverside and Crazy, Wendell Pierce, Death of a Salesman.
What do you say, Paul?
It could be Sean Hayes. Is he the only white person in this category? I just picked that out.
Which would be horrible.
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah. But Wendell
that's
Pierce,
some diversity, blacker than black for your behind, honey. They ain't playing around. I mean, that category is what? That's straight up hood, honey. They ain't fucking around.
There's a lot of white categories, only white categories, so we'll take it. I think Wendell Pierce definitely possible, but maybe Stephen McKinley Henderson, a really fine performer.
I think the battle would be between those two particular actors because those two are very, very well respected actors. Especially McKinley, because he's a more respected character actor because you see him in different kinds of things. Like you remember that Lady Bird thing with what's that girl with the funny name who won? She was nominated for an Oscar, her and Laurie Metcalf, for the movie Lady Bird. Is it Lady Bird?
Oh,
you remember?
I saw the film.
And he plays the Catholic priest in that particular thing. Then you see him in that movie with Matthew Broderick and Eddie Murphy, the thing where they're stealing the money from the Trump-like character out of the building with money heists. And you see him in that role. So you see him a lot. He's also wonderfully done with Fences. Did you see the Fences movie with Viola Davis and he plays the best friend to Denzel Washington. And
didn't he win the Tony when he did it on Broadway?
I believe he did. So he's got a good history. And Wendell Pierce is just fabulous. And then he had his Patti LuPone blow up moment too. He had his moment, he had his moment too, and rightfully so. And I think they're going to do a film version of that Death of a Salesman as well. So again, going back to the people that have been ignored from that, and he may get that opportunity to do oh my God, Tracy Letts did for Virginia Woolf. Remember when he won that year for Virginia Woolf, and that play was closed long before the Tony nominations. So the fact that they're remembering that is great. I wish that Top Dog Underdog would tour, and because that's a nice 2 or 3 person. This is a 2-person play that has a power that I think that's a beautiful thing that could easily move through the country. But what do I know? Nobody asked me. But yeah,
a lot of people left out of this category, like Oscar Isaac, John Benjamin Washington, Nathan Lane, Jefferson Mays, Jeremy Pope,
Danny
Bernstein.
Yeah. But the good thing I know about Danny
and Bernstein, I saw all of those plays. I didn't see these. I'm seeing Sean Hayes in a few weeks, even though there's a backstory there. I'm sure you both know about all that went down with that play.
With the producer and the writer or something.
Yeah, there was
apparently that it was stolen from a different play or something.
So there's a lot of that going on there. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say a black actor is going to win this category.
And that black actor will probably be Wendell Pierce.
That's who I think
probably
so.
Yeah. And I'm cool, copacetic with that altogether. So sorry, Sean. But if Sean wins, everybody gonna give somebody a side eye. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. Best performance by an actress in a leading role in a play. So we have Jessica Chastain, A Doll's House, Judy Cromer, Prima Facie, Jessica Hecht, Summer 1976, and Audra McDonald, Ohio State Murders. And now, this is the opposite because there's only one black person nominated and 3 white people.
And they only did 4 people, and I thought, well, that's really shady because Summer 1976 has 2 actresses. However, it goes
Rachel
by
Brosnahan as well.
Numbers. They only do it by if this many people are eligible, then it's a percentage of that amount that gets nominated.
Got it.
That's
why.
Because I kept thinking, you can't throw Laura Linney a bone too. That's weird.
Unless you're Aaron Tveit, but we won't talk about that.
Ooh.
Who's next to normal? Ooh. Catch me if you can. I'm just saying,
I bet you they're gonna go with the Hollywood person, but for me, I would go with the other Jessica. I really like Jessica Hecht in Summer of 1976. Keith and I were kind of talking about it a little bit. She got me in this play. I was leaning into her, but I liked her character probably more than the Laura Linney character. So, like you just called it 2 white women complaining.
They're just sitting around talking. That
I think.
Go ahead, baby.
No, I was gonna say I think it's gonna be Judy Comer.
The prima
She's
facie.
Jodie.
Oh my God,
she won
Jodie.
it.
She's incredible.
Well,
She won in London. The show won Best Play actually. In
like
London.
this person, I don't know anything about the show, but except for what I'm hearing, the buzz, and I hear that it is intense. I hear that it is like once you get into the theater, like they lock you in, like you can't, there's no people coming in and out, like they have to keep you focused on the story. And so like I said, for me, having not seen her performance, I have a feeling that that's going to be the performance to beat, because it is coming in with so much gravitas and so much backstory, especially with her London thing. God bless Jessica Heck. Like I said, MTC, shout out, I love me some you. But this particular but this particular play, like I usually I don't even write reviews to things, because I always feel like reviews, you like when you do it kind of puts you in this place of thinking that you're so much more superior, that you have this, but it sat on me so heavily when I saw it, because it was like, okay, I see this, but then there's also Fat Ham, and there's also Prima Facie, and there's Leopoldstadt, and there's all of these really like intense dramas and intense comedies, and they're diverse, and the subject matters are so weird that when you put this play, Summer of 1976, next to them, you're like, it's just a couple of white girls talking about shopping for furniture at one point, and how the kids turned out at another point, who may or may not be having an affair, it's like
there's something nostalgic about it. And actually, I've talked to two different people who saw it, that it instantly hit them thinking about a past relationship with a friend or something. And it maybe being older, I do this a lot now. I'm looking back as we keep getting older. We keep looking back,
honey, with our glasses.
So I felt like that. Yeah, I can't take mine off, or I can't read. I felt like, in a way, that's why this one hit me. I know I shed a few tears watching it, so it was just a different kind of experience, like for different people. So,
and again, I am not the demographic. Big black gay guy watching two white women talk about shopping. It's not my thing. You know what I'm saying? And but no tea, no shade, because like I said, in that same review, I said Laura Linney is the quintessential white woman, honey. She can play them all. She does them all. Yeah. And when you see her in that damn Ozark, shut the front door, honey.
Oh, she's so good in that. Yeah.
So it's not about them. It's just the piece. It's just nice. I describe it as, you remember in History of the World, there's a great scene where Dom DeLuise is sitting at the throne as the king of Caesar or something, and they bring him this gift, and he looks at the gift and he goes, it's nice, not thrilling, but nice. And that's how I feel about that play. This is nice.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the musical actors.
Yes.
Best performance by an actor in a featured role in a musical: Kevin Cahoon, Shucked; Justin Cooley, Kimberly Akimbo; Kevin Del Acchio. I don't know how to say his last name, but I love him.
He's so
Day Eglo and Some Like It Hot; Jordan Donica, Camelot; Alex Newell, Shucked. Okay, this category is shut down. It is very obvious if you've seen, I know we haven't all seen all these shows, but it is 100% no one else is going to win. And I think two of them could, but it's Alex Newell, hands down, nobody else. Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, what about you, Greg?
So I loved that Kevin Cahoon's like, I've been doing this for, this many decades, and this was his first nomination. I was so happy for him. And he is so freaking funny, and his delivery is wonderful in that. I think Alex is a gem. I think what Alex is doing in this role is freaking amazing. And just playing a woman, like, it is a woman. It is Lulu on stage. You have no questions about it. It's not
There's
like
no talk about it. It just is.
There's nothing. It just is. Unlike in Some Like It Hot, we're dealing with that. We're dealing with that.
But the difference with Some Like It Hot is that it's being presented as an initial conversation. It's like it doesn't evolve beyond the conversation, and I feel like Daphne, and that's where I'm going. And I don't and I don't know how.
About...
And the other one was, I don't know how I'm going to dress any other time. You know what I mean? I might dress this way, and I might dress that way.
When Alex chose this category, by the way, which was very smart,
say,
but also, and Alex, when Alex sings Independently Owned, it's like the only song in the whole show because it brings the house down and everyone else looks like Boo Boo the Fool, even though they're great, because Alex is so good.
He's so big. You know,
incredible.
And it's that thing about, you know, you just need that one song, that one moment, and there's your tone.
Written for Alex,
right?
Too,
so. You know,
right.
But
I love Kevin in Some Like It Hot.
Oh, he's so funny
from top to bottom. From top to bottom, everything about him. And the thing is I was sitting, I couldn't gauge exactly how tall he is, but it was like next to Jay Harrison Gee, it was like, okay, well, you are short. And I was like, and I kept thinking, if he was next to me, he must like come more. But I would just eat him up. He is so,
I know,
he's so delicious. And he's like got some new award for the way that he dances, because he's like all like limber and wiry and cute. He's so, again, not having seen Shucked, hearing everything that I hear about Alex's performance, which I think is, you know, groundbreaking and fabulous. I'm still going to be Some Like It Hot with my baby. That's my Michael. You my baby.
It's a good option still.
But I would not be
going Some Like It Hot too. But I have a reason for it, and it has to do with when we get to Best Actor in this category.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to say we're going to go non-binary with both. I just don't know if people would go there. So I'm saying Some Like It Hot for this category.
Okay. All right.
Just notably, Gavin Creel was left out of this for Into the Woods. He's so good in that.
It was fun, yes.
Now on tour. And Kennedy Kalagawa for Into the Woods. I know playing Milky White, you're like, oh, that's not even a role. I'm like, no.
It is.
It's essential. It's essential to the story. You're right. Anyway. You're right.
Okay. Speaking of Into the Woods, best performance by an actress in a featured role in a musical: Julia Lester, Into the Woods; Ruthie Ann Miles, Sweeney Todd; Bonnie Milligan, Kimberly Akimbo; Natasha Yvette Williams, Some Like It Hot; Betsy Wolfe, and Juliet.
This is a hard category.
I was going to say.
And this is tough.
This is a tough one. And for
these women are good.
They are hitting it.
And I've changed my mind several times as I went through this. Because I kept going back to when I saw Some Like It Hot. With Natasha, I'm like, this was at the beginning of the season, I feel like, when I saw it. And I went, this woman just won the Tony with this role. Oh, my God. Like, she was so good.
Baby. She turned it out.
Julia Lester, I loved her in Into the Woods. I loved that she got nominated. Everyone loves Bonnie Milligan. Again,
yes.
Kimberly Akimbo didn't quite do it for me. It just didn't do it, but I still loved her. But I'm going with Natasha.
I think it's actually, I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't think there's any other person except for Bonnie who's going to win in this category. I think it's going to be 100% of the votes to Bonnie when the Tony voters are counted.
I could see that. I could see that. I could totally see that.
But everybody loves belting Bonnie. But do you think it's this role, or do you think it's because they love her?
Belton Bonnie. It's because if they love Belton Bonnie,
I think it's the performance. I think it's the performance.
You do.
Well,
it just didn't do it for me.
It didn't do it for you. That's okay.
You know what? And to each his own. That's what I love about all of this. I'm gonna be with Natasha, because I'm telling you, the minute she walked out, I was like, "Who is this girl?"
Me too.
And then it was like this. She started singing. I was like, "Oh, Miss Thing, come now!" And then it was like everything else about the character, everything else about the performance, everything else about how it fit into the whole story, and how they let her be exactly who she is and didn't change anything about her, and still made it fit into that story that, you know, we all have a different, you know, for those of us of a certain age who remember Marilyn Monroe, have a different interpretation of that whole project. You know what I mean? That whole thing. So to see what they were able to do by bringing all this energy in that's different, and then it be so gosh darn fabulous, you know, I'm still mad that Adriana Hicks was not nominated for anything, because
wait, we didn't get to that category yet.
You know, but she, you know, but I'm just saying, you know, it's fabulous. All right, so
best performance by an actor in a leading role in a musical.
Perfect.
So we got Christian Borle, Some Like It Hot; Jay Harrison Gee, Some Like It Hot; Josh Groban, Sweeney Todd; Brian D'Arcy James, Into the Woods; Ben Platt, Parade; Colton Ryan, New York, New York.
Wow. Well,
wow. Yeah.
That's a pretty interesting category. What say you, Greg?
So there are some wonderful performances here. There are some names that we expect to see.
Yes.
And there are some names that one particular, I was shocked. But I'm going to go with Jay Harrison on this. I would really love to see them win and take this. There was something very special about that performance. There was something very special about what they did with this role. I remember leaving and saying to people, they handled it so smartly. They handled it in a 2023 way without banging us over the head. That was my biggest thing. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to shove this down our throat now. I'm an old queen on that. These young people. And I was like, no, they did it. They did it. And it was smart.
You know,
and I love them. I that's where I'm going.
Because, for me, in that particular moment with Jay Harrison, it was it was summed up in such a very subtle moment. It was in the middle of that song when they were getting ready to change into being Daphne and what's his name. And it was when he put that glove on he had put the glove on his shoulder and he just like stared into the mirror. And it was like, something just clicked.
Who is she? Who is she though?
Who is she feeling? Who is she?
Yeah.
And it was like, and when I saw that, I was like, now that's the perfect, easy, like I see how we're going to do this. And then from that moment on, the way they opened up that little portion of the storyline, I loved how they handled it. I loved how it was, it's like when they ask him, like, well, what are you going to do about your dress? And she's like, well, whatever I feel like wearing, that's what I'm going to wear that day. And it was like, and that was all that was said. And you remember that because it was 1930. Like, how open of a discussion you're going to be able to have about trans issues. But it's a great conversation because it shows in a weird way that this stuff is not new. All these people are carrying on. Like folks were dealing with this stuff back in 1930s. They just had to stay hidden because they would have been dead. What was that movie with Glenn Close where she played the butler, Alvin Nobbs?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like we don't have to talk about that.
We don't have to talk about it. But I mean,
based on the play.
but I'm just saying, like it's that kind of, we're looking at that kind of life that person would have had to live at that time. But they gave us just enough for us to, look at that. They sprinkled that in. And they were able to carry on all the extra diversity. So,
and it's not to take away from the amazing,
of everybody else.
People are like, oh, Sweeney Todd should win. Oh, Ben Platt is wonderful in Parade, and I'd hit my phase if I was over Ben Platt, and then I saw him in this, and I'm like, oh,
you're back.
No, he's back. Yeah,
he's back. He's back to the basics.
But there's something so special about this year of what they were able to accomplish in this moment in life with this role and that performance. It's that performance.
And to take it out of even more so, it's like, look at the political climate that we're in. Like this is something that even, as we tout it as performance and we look at it as the style and we're all about it as actors and creatives, we see it for that level. But there's also another a piece of this that on a political level that him winning this award, or even with Alex Newell winning that award, it would bring a conversation of what are you people wasting your time and energy fighting about? Because look, we over here singing and dancing, we ain't giving a shit about you and your fucking kids. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like, so
well, and so also you can think about okay, so people tend to win if they're doing drag or if they're doing a gay character, but it's usually straight people. But okay, let's think about, we have Tootsie, Santino won, right? He's straight. Billy Porter won. He's gay, but he's not a drag queen.
Right.
And then Jay Harrison Gee is a non-binary performer that chose this category instead of, a leading actress as an example. And I think is so fantastic. It's not, I would say it's sort of a non-binary character. It's not obviously explicitly said.
Right.
But that's sort of the idea of the character. And that would be, I think, pretty powerful, especially for people at home who are maybe young or they're identifying that way. And they're like, wow, if they can win, I mean, that's really incredible.
Don't forget Harvey Fierstein, Edna Turnblad.
I try to. No, I'm just kidding.
But go all the way back to George Hearn for Lacage.
Straight
man. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
But
exactly.
it'll be a really interesting take to have that happen. And it's so funny too, because I have a friend of mine that I went to college and junior high and high school with, and her child is non-binary and presents themselves as non-binary. And when she asked me about a show to see, because they were coming to New York City, I told them to go see Some Like It Hot, specifically because I knew that element of conversation was there. And I also knew, because it was African American, that it also was a discussion that they were able to have in that conversation. So to me, it's like, it's this again, I tout Some Like It Hot as ridiculously as I have been, just because, I'm a ridiculous queen. But as I come now talk to you guys about it, I also realize there's another level of this show that has an impact that I'm now just thinking about in conversation. And so it makes me love it even more.
And Juliet has it also as a storyline. So for young people dealing with that, I say go see that and see yourself on stage as well.
Fabulous.
And there's a non-binary performer in that dancing, which is closing very soon. Just one last thing I'm going to say. Toby Marlowe did win as the first non-binary artist for the composer lyricist for Six last year. So that was the first one to win, and that's very exciting. And could be a performer this year. So we'll see.
And then we'll sort out.
And if Ben Platt wins, then the white people win. I don't know what to say, but hopefully not.
Between Ben and Josh, and I like Josh. I like Josh a lot, and I think what he's doing over there is really fun. And like I said, I get to see him.
Do they know it's an actor category and not a singing category?
Oh. Well, listen. Okay, you said it. So
Tony Shalhoub.
Paul, that's why I haven't gone to see it, because of that reason. So just so you know, I've stayed away from that one.
What you say?
Mr. Spreadsheet has Brian Darcy James ever won a Tony? Mr. Spreadsheet?
No, and he's been nominated 10,000 times. Here's the thing: he actually wasn't eligible for this category, and he was not in the opening night. Right. And he was out with COVID, I believe. I know a lot of people have been out, especially at that time. And they pushed the opening night retrospectively, so he was eligible. But, he was great. I saw him in the show, but I think other people probably shined more. No disservice to him. But he should get a special Tony.
I went the day after, or 2 days after it opened.
Yeah.
And I saw his understudy, and he's fabulous. Right. And he's out on the road now with the show, too, but he's wonderful.
Oh, well, I love Brian Darcy James just in general. Everything I've ever seen him in, I've always loved him in. But I'm going to say my favorite performance for me with him is Something Rotten. I loved him in Something Rotten. You know why? Because I didn't know he could tap dance. And then I saw him tap dancing, and I was like, oh, my God, you're a dancer, too? Oh, I love you even more.
We love tap dancers.
I love my tap dancers. So, again... Okay. I feel like in this cat, this is Brian Darcy James. Won the list again?
Yeah. Oh, Brian Darcy James, Ben Platt, Colton Ryan, Josh Groban, Jay Harrison Gee, Christian Borle. Christian Borle, I love him, but he did not stand out in that show as much as I thought he would.
I mean, I love his presence there, and I love what the relationship that he has with I love his character's relationships that he has with Daphne. And I like that dynamic, and I love the way that they've played that to where he's ride or die with him. And I like that. You know what I'm saying? I love the aspect of the character. But it's the performance. He's fabulous. He's keeping up with everybody on that stage. So I'm not mad at him. But like in the end, it's all about, I think, the bigger message, and I think it's Jay Harrison. So
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's get these ladies. Let's get these ladies.
By an actress in a leading role in a musical are Annalie Ashford, Sweeney Todd, Sarah Bareilles, Into the Woods, Victoria Clark, Kimberly Akimbo, Lorna Courtney, and Juliet, Michaela Diamond Parade.
Interesting. 3 of these are revivals, in this category.
And I will say, there was someone who brought up, when it comes to having maybe separate categories or keeping, genders in the same category. What if we had a best leading actress in a revival category? That could be very interesting too, different than originating a role. I will say, and you mentioned this before, Adriana Hicks was not nominated.
Where is she?
She should have been featured, though. I think that was a mistake by the producers, quite honestly, but that's just my opinion.
And the woman, the lead from New York, where Colton got
exactly. And Philippa So could have been nominated for Camelot, or Into the Woods was not nominated. So yeah, there's a bunch that were left out. But
Patina Miller would have been fabulous for nomination.
And Paul, you brought up an interesting thing when you just said about, if we combine into performer and no more actor actress. I do believe if we were to do that, cis women are going to get shafted, because if we do that, we're going to get more men are going to get in over women for whether it be stage, whether it be film. It's always going to be, then there will end up being more men in those categories than women, is what I think would end up happening. And so they will be the
it's interesting. And Alex Newell brought that up. Like, I'm glad so many women were nominated this year, but yeah, it's definitely something that needs to have the discussion. I don't think anyone has come up with the perfect solution yet.
But I like your idea about a revival. Like, why? Because if there are Mrs. Lovett, you're like, oh, it's that role. They get to play that role. Or Gypsy every 3 years, somebody's going to play Mama Rose. Well, then the role is always going to win.
Right.
Almost. You know what I mean?
True. Depending on who's doing it and what they're bringing to it. You're absolutely correct. Right. It's interesting though, because who was it? Right at the beginning of the awards season, that last rush, it was the Drama Desk, Drama League, and Outer Critic Circles, who all decided to lump everybody into
genderless categories.
To make it genderless categories.
And another awards shows too, not just them, but
Right. But what I find fascinating is that the discussion becomes, what do we do with all these performances? What do we do with all these things? And we put all these people in the same category. It's not any different than the technical categories where you've got, male and female, gender identified choreographers and lighting people, and they're all there in the same category, but it's not, you don't have 65 of them. So how then are you going to manage, creating a category that, if you're going to be this specific or this open, then you're going to still have to narrow some of the choices, because even, you're going to have to, someone's going to have to say there's going to be five things from, one category, cis, non-binary, and whatever, and put them all together in one thing, and then figure out how you're going to make that hodgepodge. And that's going to be a mess. However, if we're going to start the discussion, if not now, when? So better that we do it now, better that we all look at the Tonys and be like, well, how come you didn't do it? Because that's what everybody's doing. They did it over there, but you couldn't do it over here. But I think the Tonys, they have probably spent so much money keeping everything in the binary that there's no way that they could reverse any of that now to accommodate what I saw as a surprise, because I didn't know that was going to be happening with those categories.
I didn't either, yeah.
And so it was a surprise to me. So I could see how for the Tonys they were like, well, what is Outer Critics doing? What is Drama Desk doing? And
Keith, I mentioned to you before, the people getting nominated or winning in categories for not their gender identity has been happening since the 60s. So it's nothing new to the Tonys. It's just something that people don't think about.
Well, and it's about giving recognition to where recognition should
Paul,
be.
you mean in non-performing categories?
In performing, yeah. I'll send it to you later. But
thank you. Okay.
So who do you guys pick for this category? I say it's 100% going to be Victoria Clark. I don't know if Greg agrees.
I have Victoria Clark too. That's who I have.
I'm partial to Anna Lee. I'm partial to Anna Lee Ashford. I know that I'm a little bit biased because I do get to see her perform pretty much every night, I will say. And
I liked it better when Kristen Chenoweth did it. Oh wait, that was Schmigadoon. Oh wait, what are we talking about?
Shut up! Don't be rude. But let me tell you something about her performance, and then if you do get a chance to see it and look at it from that perspective, I look at Mrs. Lovett as kind of almost clownish. You know what I'm saying? Like she's a little too over the top in a lot of different performances, and it's great because she's an over the top kind of character. But what Anna Lee does is that she brings the humor, she brings the crazy, because she is making meat pies out of human beings. I mean, it is a wacky idea, and she's putting it all together. Like, you feel bad for Mrs. Lovett because, you know, Mrs. Lovett is, I never thought about Mrs. Lovett as having had a crush on Sweeney Todd for 15 years, enough to hold on to a set of his razors, thinking that he may or may not come back. And like, you start thinking about that, and it's like the way she plays it, you see it, you see Mrs. Lovett fully as a human versus just a cackling crazy woman with the hatchet. You know what I'm saying? And I love all of that about the role. So I see that, and I see it every day, and maybe I'm very partial, but I know that everybody loves Victoria Clark too. And I hear that
and Victoria has been with this show forever
from the beginning.
And what she has created in this, you know,
this universe,
very, very strange universe, is pretty remarkable, because you believe her. You believe she's a teenager. Like,
so I mean, I having not seen that performance, I feel like that's probably going to be the favorite, because, you know, it's great for, and everybody else. Michaela Diamond, I hear, is just tearing it up over there at Parade.
She's wonderful. She's wonderful in that role.
So
I forget how young she is. There's this maturity she brought to this role, like, so quickly. I'm like, weren't you just in Cher? Like, graduated high school and you just did Cher?
And now I'm doing this mature role, you know?
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
Wonderful.
That's a great thing.
Okay, next category. You ready?
Yes.
Best revival of a play: The Piano Lesson, A Doll's House, Top Dog, Underdog, and The Sign in Sidney Bernstein's Window. And I'll just say the two shows that were not nominated: Death of a Salesman and Ohio State Murders. Death of a Salesman really surprised me, because I feel like that anytime that show's revived, it gets nominated.
It gets nominated. Like, how dare you not nominate it? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's Arthur Miller. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
How dare you? Wow.
You know, because I would have thought Death of a Salesman would have been the one, but maybe it's, I don't know, A Doll's House or Piano Lesson. I don't know. What do you think?
What do you think, Greg?
I did not see any of them.
Wait.
I'm embarrassed.
Now that I think about it, neither have I. Wait.
Oh my God. So we should move on from this.
No.
Paul gets to do a monologue.
But I will give you my estimate from a deductive place.
Yeah.
A Doll's House is the only one that's still playing. A Doll's House is another show that
The Sign in Sidney Bernstein's Window.
Sign.
Playing as well.
It's A Doll's House. It hasn't closed yet, right? Oh, okay. Well,
The Sign is still set. Yeah.
Okay, but again, as we mentioned earlier, we just found out that show was actually running last week. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Just started,
so, like, you know, again, happy to be nominated. And it's, you know, Lorraine Hansberry, fabulous. But at the same time, it's like, it's about the commerce too. And so Jessica Chastain is sitting her butt right over there at the Doll's House. It's getting great reviews. Everybody's living and loving on it. They've got, you know, interesting people talking about it. It's worth nominating it and letting it win for the sake of keeping that business open. And all these other shows, they're making movies out of one. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's things happening to those other projects, so they're fine. You know what I mean? So Doll's House is the winner.
My brain went to this. I saw A Doll's House Part 2 a couple of years ago. I'm good.
Ooh, with Laurie Metcalf. That show was fabulous.
So good.
That play was amazing.
I didn't
and
need
so
to reach.
funny.
I'm like, I don't need to go see the original now, because I was so satisfied.
That show turned me out. I was like, oh, work. How you modern that up. I love that.
Yeah.
With Condola Rashad
are you ready?
as well. Yes.
We're ready.
Let's do it.
Best play.
Best play. Ain't No Mo. Between
No Mo.
Riverside and Crazy. Cost of Living, Fat Ham, Leopoldstadt. Gotta say. There's so many that were left out of this category. Peter Pan Goes Wrong, Pictures from Home, Prima Facie, The Thanksgiving Play, Walking with Ghosts, It's Christmas Carol, The Collaboration, Goodnight Oscar, The Kite Runner, The Life of Pi. So it kind of goes on and on. Obviously, you have
all the ones
plays
I saw were left out.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's a pretty obvious winner this year. It's really surprising that Ain't No Mo was nominated, because it didn't get no audience.
It ain't got no audience, so why you here?
It's not running no mo.
And it ain't no, you know. But luckily that's great for the playwright, and that's great. It's great recognition. So
It is.
That's great.
Yeah.
But
so wait, Paul, who are you going with?
Fat Ham.
I want to say
I'm
Fat
Leo
Ham.
Polstadt. I'm
but
Leo.
I think Leo Polstadt's going to be the winner.
Yeah,
it's between Leo Polstadt and Fat Ham, and again for one really good reason: they're both still running.
It will be Tom Stoppert's last play.
Maybe,
perhaps.
I mean, but at the same time, commerce dictates what.
Will this be Aaron Sorkin's last play? Oh
no, he'll be.
Okay, best revival of a musical. So we have Into the Woods, Camelot, Parade, Sweeney Todd, and the two left out, as many will know, 1776 and Danson, which got completely shut out of the nominations.
Let's see. Where are you with this, Greg?
So when I saw Into the Woods, I absolutely loved it. And I've seen the show a million times, and there was something about this that just grabbed me. I know it was concert, but I loved everything about the way they had done it. That said, it's closed. I don't think it'll win, because it's no longer here. I did not want to go see Sweetie Todd. Maybe I need to go see it because everybody keeps praising it.
Get your butt to Sweetie Todd and just stop being, you just cut it out, mister, right now.
Because I probably
I'm going to pull this show over right now, Pally.
I think in this moment we need Lepestadt, whatever, as the Tom Stopper play, to win or Parade. I think because of how Jews are continuously getting persecuted in this moment, Parade should win. And I've had friends in Sweeney Todd say that Parade should win, so there you go. But it will be between Parade and Sweeney Todd 100%.
Yeah,
I don't
that's the showdown. And again, and either one of them.
Did you guys see Camelot?
No.
I'm going.
Everyone slept through Camelot.
It's not calling me.
I should switch my tickets to Sweetie.
Well, I would be appreciative of that, and come up to the Mez and say hi.
If I go see Sweetie, I'm sitting in the Mez, so I'll see you.
You'll see me. It'll be fun.
I don't know why they didn't nominate Bad Cinderella in this category. It's no. Oh, sorry, that was the last category. The next one. Okay, so best musical. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
Like we don't know what Keith's gonna say. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just gonna roll my clip.
And Juliet, Kimberly Akimbo, New York, New York, Shucked, Some Like It Hot, and Bad Cinderella. No, I'm just kidding. That one's one.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps saying to me it's going to be Shocked, which I would not be upset. Again, it's an original musical, which is a rarity these days. Some Like It Hot, I think I would be very happy with that as well. It could be Kimberly Akimbo, but I think if you think about what won last year and then what will win this year, I don't think it'll be Kimberly Akimbo, but that's just my opinion.
Wait, what one? Oh, Strange Loop last year was the independent, little
smaller,
show that could something. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So
I mean, my three favorites made it in here, so that made me happy. My three favorites of the season were Some Like It Hot and Juliet and Shucked. So yeah, I would be happy with any of those. If New York, New York wins, I will be because I don't want it to win. No,
it won't. It won't. No.
And I love people involved with that. That's what kills me.
I mean,
it has no business. Look what else got locked out of this. Like Neil Diamond, nothing
got out of that. No jukebox musical for that one. I mean,
Andrew Lloyd Webber was the only other person eligible for best score. He did not get his nomination, and that's all we'll say about that.
Well, but again, here we are. It's like Some Like It Hot, is my choice, so I'm not even going to pretend. But what I love about this is they had no problem saying, sorry, Neil, we're not doing you. Enjoy your. We're glad Neil Diamond's on Broadway, but we're not coming to the.
Did you guys see that one?
No, I haven't, but I heard great things about it.
Here's what
it's very commercial.
But I like the way it was set. I like the older Neil. Like when it started, I'm like, oh my God, this is an interesting play. And I leaned in because it's all about him in like a therapy session discussing his life. And then I didn't like when it would go back into that stuff. But there was something very interesting about all that part of it, which I really enjoyed a lot.
Okay. I mean, but again, I don't know how if I feel this is so anticlimactic at this point. It's like, it's like, I hope the show doesn't end up being anticlimactic when we get to that point on June 11th when the Tonys are finally announced.
Right. And it'll be interesting because I think Paul is right. It could be that, we keep thinking, oh, Some Like It Hot, didn't it get the most nominations?
Yep.
13, yeah.
But I could see very well, because Shuck's marketing team could pull this off. They really could.
Well, I mean, and that's the other part to the challenge of all of this stuff, because we've talked about this before, that the Tony Awards, just like the Oscars, just like everything else, they're just a trade show. These are just trade shows, and this is an opportunity for a national audience to see what's going on Broadway and what's happening on Broadway. And because we are lucky to be here, we get to see as much as we can. We get to participate in as much as we can, and so we take this time we take the awards time at least a little bit personal, because we are invested in such a great way. And so, having said that, I just want to say, first of all, thank you both for taking the time out of your days, taking your time away from your busy movie schedule. Stop it, let me toss my hair. To sit and just
listen. I do that, just so you know. I go do that stuff just so I can afford to go see Broadway shows. Go do some background work on shows. They pay me good money, and then I can go and I can use it on tickets
and be a part
Broadway.
of this. And because again, it's like, you don't have to, and I appreciate the fact that you do. And at the same time, it's just really nice because, as I was telling Greg off the air earlier, that I'm having this wonderful kind of renaissance and a resurgence of wanting to be back and involved again. And I don't know if it's because I've gotten a little bit older and the back is not doing what it used to do, and the knees are popping, and and I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out like that, and I want to be able to do this and continue to do this. And I'm so glad that you guys are hanging out and continuing on with me. So thank you guys both for doing this. And for those who are listening, what do we have? We've got, how do these people find you? Because you guys are all over the net. Like, what's happening?
Well, I've deleted my Twitter, so that's no longer. But I am on Instagram at Paul Winkler and Mastodon, if anyone knows what that is.
I was going to say, what the hell is that? These kids with all these damn new fucking apps and new Twitter, I can't. I just can't. I can't. It's too much.
Where are you, Greg?
I'm on Instagram at I'm Gregory Allen. Or just GregoryGAllen.com, and you can find me anywhere.
Right, so they can find out about all the books that you've been writing, all of the acting stuff that you've got going on, as well as be jealous of his travels. Because that's what I do.
Paris was wonderful. Paris in spring was beautiful.
Paris
for our birthday month, Keith. Our birthday month.
I love it.
We share it.
I went to Paris for my birthday once, and I haven't been back since, and that's a shame because I need to go back. I need to go back. Yes,
where
honey.
Can we find you?
Well, you can find me. Let's see. I'm in so many different places because my personality is split between.
Don't say Facebook.
Well, it's there. It's there. But I'm on the Facebook. I'm also at KP Curtain Call on the Twitter for those who want to follow us on the theater side of me. The comedy side of me, of course, is at Comedy Daddy. And for everything else, I try to keep all under one heading as KeithPriceComic.com. So hopefully at this point, we're going to all be seen as well as heard. And I'm, again, thankful for your friendship and thank you for your time. And we are going to, hopefully between now and the end of this theater season, as well as into this new summer of things that are coming, I'll be doing a lot more interviews and a lot more conversations because I miss doing that.
Wonderful.
And we'll be talking more about theater and everything else. So I love you both.
Well, happy Tony season. Go see a show, everyone.
Happy Tony.
Yes. And even if you're not seeing a Broadway show, if you're wherever you live, go see something.
Yeah.
There's
a tour, regional
community theater. Because the thing about this that people don't understand is that every person that we talk about on Broadway, especially in these latter 15, 20 years, they were a community theater actors someplace. They were, they moved and graduated and went to some fabulous school and came out, and now they're here. They've learned. So it's like, start at home and then bring it out to the rest of the world and see what happens. So again, thank you guys so much. And we will be back for something scandalous some other time. Ow!
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.